Hello. All right, so here we are once again in the tutorial series, and I believe this is session 4. And now's where you just begin to do the minutia. You begin to add detail, decorations, and lighting, and that sort of thing. So we have this, and coming into this area, and the first thing I think is we probably need some supports around the edge. So that's what we can begin doing. Let's open up our browser. Let's pick some kind of texture to make supports. Move our brush here. Make it visible with the B key if it doesn't show up. You can look here and see that we are 128, 128, that's 256. 256, that's 512. So we have a height of 512 that we need to build. Open up our cube builder. 512. Hit the build. Now we just have to determine what kind of support do we want. And I will say that it will be a little challenging building something to match the angles as well as the straight parts. So let's put this. One, two, three, four, five, six. I'm a lazy builder. I don't like to do math in my head or even on paper. Calculators are where it's at. All right, so we have that. We notice our players start there, so we just need to be cognizant of that fact. I'm going to add that. And now I want to bring in a cylinder. I'm going to rotate it. What I'm doing is holding down left control, right mouse button, rotating it just like you would the player start. You have to do it in a 2D view, though. You won't have much success in a 3D. Let's bring them down some. Oh, that's the cube. I forgot to bring up the cylinder. There we go. Okay. I kind of like that. Let's make it match that in height, 256. There we go now. So what we have here is we want to cut this shape out, but I don't think we want, I know we don't want to cut down below the floor here. And one way to take care of that is to move this brush out where it's just in the general area. And then de-intersect it down here. And do you see what it did? It cut off everything that was outside of the map. And now it just left that. And I kind of like that. So let's pull it back. Make sure we're lined up the way we want to be. And then hit subtract. Hey, look at that. That's an interesting support. I don't know if it's what you want, but I think it'll do for our purposes. So here's an option. If we hide the builder brush, now we have this brush, which is an additive, and then this brush, which is a subtractive. And we can certainly just Control D, duplicate them, and position them around. And that's perfectly fine, perfectly acceptable. Or we could bring him out here, hit build, so it shows up. And then we could get our builder brush and surround that and intersect it and make it one brush. I think we might want to align some of these textures first, just to make it prettier. In the new updated version, we have this nifty little button called Auto, which I appreciate very much. Just kind of align it how you want it. You can be as rigid with this as you want. I like to do it. I like to take pride in it. If I'm putting something out there with my name on it, I want it to look, at least the best of my ability. And if I'm taking the time to do it, I might as well take the time to do it well. So something like that. It's not perfect, but it will serve our purposes. Except for that piece. There we go. All right. So let's go back to our cube builder. We've got it. We'll build it just to see what it looks like. It looks like we rotated, so we need to right click on it, reset all. New brush here. All right, now we're back in the right shape. So we want to get this guy over that. We know it's 256. And it's 512 or 768. What do we got here? There we go. So now we're completely surrounding it, and we're not touching anything else in the level. And we hit intersect down here. And look at that. And see, this is where you determine its value. This brush is far more complex than the other brush, the two brushes. So you may determine, I think I'll just deal with the two brushes, and that's valid. Or you can deal with this one. Let's look at how this one turns out when we put it in. And we'll just add it. Although it is a pillar, a column, so we could, in theory, we could click on our add special brush here and drill down to semi-solid pillar and hit OK. As long as we are absolutely certain that it's not like sitting into the surface of anything, which it's not. Hide our builder brush, build. Look at it. It looks pretty good. We could do way better on texturing, but so it's up to you how you want to do it. You can have one brush or multiples. I think in this instance it doesn't matter, but I think we'll stick with the multiple, just because we can. If you look at some of my maps, you'll find that I do often I'll do a combination. I'll make brushes that are multiple brushes and brushes that are one brush intersected. So now you see, here's the issue we have. We're on an angle and it doesn't really want to match up. We can go down to 1 and try to get it to match, and this is where we have to be careful. This is why a lot of maps are so square, Because once you get into this kind of stuff, then you can begin introducing problems into your map because it doesn't want to line up on the grid properly. And we're at the lowest number you can go, and I really don't suggest even going there. Let's delete that guy. Control D. So I'm just going to put it on here. Maybe go down to 8. There we go. That looks better. Put it on there, and don't have to do anything because it's a duplicated brush. We'll just duplicate it again and go to the next one. Duplicate it again. So you get the picture. I mean, this is what mapping is. Sometimes it's watching paint dry. Sometimes it's a lot of little things that may not be so exciting or romantic or whatever. It's just doing little things bit by bit, piece by piece, until you get it to come out with what you want. It's problem solving, it's question answering, it's all kinds of things. But above all, it should be fun, right? If you're not having fun, then you probably don't need to do it. So this would give us some places to dodge rocket fire, and it also says, hey, we're holding up the ceiling here. So that's a good thing. We could do the same thing up here, or we could do something different. It's up to you. Let's add some lights. We'll just do a simple lighting for now, and then in the next session, we might look at some complex lighting. All right, so we'll right click on the floor and add a light here. And that brings in a light. And if we go to our zone info for a second, we want to turn off the light here too. Just so we can see what a light looks like with no other lighting. So we'll rebuild the lighting, rebuild all, and then. So there's what a light looks like by default. Bright white. And pretty bright, but we can't see anything over here. All right, so if we double click on the light properties, we have light color, and this is the brightness, and this hue and saturation determine the color of the lighting. Here we have certain functions we could enable, like corona, lens flare, special lit. All of these are things that we could play around with. But right now, in conjunction with the color and the brightness, the next thing to look at would be light radius, and you have light type, light effect too. But light radius and light brightness go together. If we make this, say, 125 and rebuild the lighting, it's pretty much brighter. We're starting to get a hot spot here and a hot spot up there. But we can see that it lit up a larger area. It's starting to spill down over the side. But if we go back to, say, 60, and then we change this radius to 125. Now look, we don't have as bad a hot spot, but we have light falling further away, and it's much smoother transition. It's just a really easy cascade of light. So that's the kind of thing you want to think about. If we did this, if we had it at that setting and we duplicated it and moved one over here and then rebuilt the lighting. I mean, look at that. It's practically lit with just the two lights because we changed that radius. And this is something you experiment with. It doesn't always work. And the more lights you get, the less it may work. But it's just a simple thing to do. And it has such good results if you use it appropriate. So lighting can make or break a level. You can just throw in default lights and say, I'm done. Or you can really begin to play around with your level. It's up to you. It's up to what you want to produce with your name on it. So I think that'll do it for now. We've got some lights in there. We've got our movers. We're starting to have a level. All right, I'll see you later.